You'll recall during the budget process last year, as we approved the 2017 budget, we mentioned that we would come back after we received all of our income and expenditure statements, and we would do a final amended. I will just mention the State Auditor's office didn't like that. So this next year we'll still have to do an amended budget at the budget time, even though we won't have all of the numbers in place. But this is a very good representation of what the actual income and expenditures were for 2016. So we're going to present this to you as a final amended budget tonight. Just briefly looking at it, this is the revenue portion of the general fund. And so on the taxes portion, we had budgeted almost 11.8. We brought in 13.2, 12.7% increase above what we budgeted. Licenses and permits, we had 1.5 almost, 2.1 was received, about a 42% increase. Intergovernmental revenue, we're about at 1%, 2.4 million. Charges for services, we had an increase from 2.3 to almost 2.8, 20% increase. Fines and forfeitures went down from a projected 617,000 to 536,000, increase of 13%.
What do you think accounts for
that? That would most likely be court fines. There's a lot of things that go into that. Not necessarily number of cases, for instance, and Judge Sessions isn't here to discuss this, so I won't be fair to him. He's doing a great job. But the types of cases and the types and the ability to find against that, this is a total crapshoot at the beginning of the year. We don't know. We also don't know, for instance, how many people will be pulled over by the highway patrol. We have no control of that. We don't know who will. We don't know how many the sheriff will pull over. We don't have quotas. We don't have things that say go out and do that. We do try to patrol areas. We try to have so many hours of patrolling, but if we don't see speeders or we don't have infractions that are fines, we don't like anything. So that could be a good sign that we have less speeders, less crime, less whatever. It might mean we don't have enough personnel to go after it, or the state may not, or the types of crimes or fines that could have been levied are less than what we could have. So there's just a ton of things.
So what we budgeted was really a scientific flat, yes.
It was. It was. You can see, look, going back in years, you can go back here to about 550,000 and then almost 100,000 in 14, but then it dropped back down below what it was in 13 the next year. So this is all over the map.
So it's not just one big thing that happened?
No, there's not. I wish there was some more scientific way. I'm an engineer, so I love things that add up or graph or project, but that's one I can't figure out. Our miscellaneous dropped about 45% on income. That could be a lot of things, one-time sales of things. I don't have a specific on that one. And then contributions from fund balance dropped, which would mean we didn't have to transfer as much from the reserve portion of our general funding to the fund. And or from other areas, not the next one's the general fund balance. And that we had budgeted about $770,000. So overall, it was about a 7.5% increase in revenue over what we projected. We projected just under 20 million, and we brought in 21.4 million. Well, that sounds really great. We did spend most of that.
Of course you did.
There is a reason when you increase license fees and so forth. When that revenue goes up, it means you're doing more building inspections and all these things associated with that. So let's look at the final expenditures. Starting at the top, under the manager, county manager, we did remove the comptroller budget. We did expend all of that budget because we lost the comp. We didn't hire part of it, and we let that. So we had additional monies there. The council budget was up about 9.3%. District court went up quite a bit. We had some salary things, but we got the main thing in the district court is our indigent defense and the cost of indigent defense. In this case, we had to cover some of the murder trial that we had anticipated. Those were one-time type costs on the Simpson trial. So we did cover those. So it's likely that that will go down. Justice Court, we're slightly up, it's about even. Children's Justice Center up 11%. Central Purchasing, that's Brent's column, is down 16%, so he didn't buy the new staples as as we had imagined would happen. Personnel up 3%. Clerk Auditor down under 1%. Treasurer down almost 8%. Recorder down 1.4%. Attorney down under 1%. Assessor up almost 5%. Surveyor down 22%. This one we had projected earlier in the year on the surveyor that we would have a higher replacement. We had a replacement who quit, and so we had some void time, so we had some time we weren't paying anybody there. Engineering, that 50% is a direct reflection of additional developments and requests. We charge for that, we receive more money for that, and we spend more money. General government buildings down about 10%. Grants, we didn't do any, so down about 100% from what we projected. Elections was up a little bit. We knew that when we got into that, it ended up costing us a little bit more than what we thought it would to do the mail-in portion. It did work well, but it was more expensive than we had anticipated. Public lands were down about 83%. I'm really not sure what we didn't spend that on. I can't remember.
Did we take the...
Might have been Widener
contractors out of a different fund?
Might have just been taken out of a different fund.
I think he maybe went to your fund.
Building inspector was down a little bit because we were anticipating hiring an additional building inspector earlier in the year, which we didn't. So that left a little money on the table there. Sheriff's Department up about 4.5%. Security services down about 25%. Dispatch down 11%. Ambulance down about 8%. Wildland Fire down 33%. These are from budgeted numbers. Corrections up 11%. Weed control up 4%. Animal control up 25%. Emergency management up 62%. We created the emergency management position last year and hired Jeremy, so that's where we see that increase over what we had planned. Drug and alcohol up 31%. Mental health down 20%. These two, there's always some juggling because those are state programs and we get money and then we pass it on to Wasatch Mental Health. And we continually juggle between drug and mental health, they'll juggle one program into the other and take one away, and so the money switched places a lot of times. Usually the total's pretty close to the same. Indigent, we didn't have any expenditures. Indigent highways was down about 3.5%. Flood control, we were down a bunch. This is 100%. Basically, we didn't have to expend. We'll make up for it this year, probably. TV, we were down a little bit. We had budgeted a little bit more money in TV in case we had to do some replacement of some of the digital stuff that didn't happen, so we saved some money there. Victims Advocate, we actually we have a new Victims Advocate, and so we had some blank space in there where we didn't pay anybody. Extension Office down about 6%. Overall, we increased about 2.5%. So where we had budgeted just under $20 million, we spent $20,499,556. The revenues, so we were up about $500,000. Revenues were up about $1.5 million, so we netted $902,000 above what we thought we would get.
I know this is just me being new, but what is TV? Sorry, every other one of those I can kind of see the name.
TV? You didn't know where TV is?
I understand.
That is,
why does the county pay for recreation TV?
that
Where does that money
the
go?
most important category on this budget, because if that goes down, I cannot count how many phone calls we get. We own the repeater station
Oh, we
up on
make
the mountain,
okay, and we maintenance that.
and we maintenance that.
Sorry, I know that was a stupid question, but I was like,
No, it's not
why are
stupid.
we in recreation TV?
But it is very important, because when it goes down, the phone calls, we roll in.
Okay.
Especially if it happens during the jet duty.
Yeah.
Spencer, I have the same question. I thought we had a TV
Never
channel.
access, yeah.
For a public access station or something?
Okay, thank you. I knew it was going to be a stupid question. I knew I was going to get laughed at.
So is that for broadcast television? Is that
Antenna.
like what is that? But it's not like direct TV.
It's a repeater station. So we bring in channel 2, channel 4, channel 5, channel 7, channel 13, whatever those are, we repeat them back into the valley. And now it is particularly important because with the digital signal, it is a line of sight signal, whereas the old signals, you know, they bend a little bit. So if you were down in a low place, you'd still probably pick it up. But if you don't have an antenna on line of sight to that repeater, you don't get it now.
Unless you've got something out. You're the reason I had to get up on the roof when I was a kid and change the antenna.
Yeah. Okay, here's the other funds revenue. So we got Class B roads, liquor, health, 911, commissary, economic development, tourism, TRT, and the recreation fund, 4446, housing authority, library, debt services. We can see that Class B roads are up. That's reflective of the increase the state allowed on the Class B roads road tax. So your gas tax went up, and so that money's reflected there. Liquor distribution is down quite a bit. The sheriff, it's money that comes in that we then use. That portion, I think that comes from a lot of the fine and forfeiture statewide. It gets reapportioned back to us. So that was down quite a bit. Health department was up about 21%. 911, we were down about 8%. Commissary fund down 77%. Economic development, these funds, the TRT and the recreation funds did go up. Those are the ones you get reports on every month. We do get those along with the sales tax reports. And then the library was up 17.2% in revenue. So total special, these are all what we call special revenue funds, special funds, and we were up about 21% on those. Our debt service funds, we were up just a little bit, about 8%. That we've got the rec center county bonds, which includes parts of the rec center. We refinanced the rec center and pulled those county bonds in, and so we received revenues from those. And then the fire station event center, that's the Jordanelle Fire Station, and the event center have a separate bond. The fire station really isn't part of that anymore. anymore. They paid their portion off, and so it's just the event center we're doing it now.
How much longer do we have on that? 5 years?
Do you know, Barry?
On which one?
Event center bond?
Yeah, I think that's right. 5? Yeah.
Our capital projects, funds, impact fees, revenue was down a little bit from what we projected, but we did have a high projection above our previous year actual. We did increase over previous year. We didn't increase as much as we thought we would. That's directly related to value of permits that we let. Capital projects was up. That was money that was transferred in to complete the ball diamonds and the other project we had on the county project down on the ball diamonds. And then we didn't have
$1 million.
the library.
Hey, Mike, I'm sorry. Can we go back up to special revenue? What's the difference between tourism and recreation and economic lines?
On 44 and 46. When we call one of them on the report that you received, we call one TRT and the other restaurant.
Okay, so one is TRT and one is restaurant?
Yes. The TRT fund is 4.25%, and that money does have, a portion of the money has pretty heavy restrictions, all that have some restriction. The restaurant tax, which is essentially, which one's the restaurants? That's the...
Must be the
46.
tourism. Yeah.
46 is restaurant, that doesn't have any restrictions, that's just the taxes. Is you eat at a restaurant in Wasatch County, a portion of the tax added on goes into that fund. And so we use that fund to help in tourism recreation areas. But it isn't as restricted. The TRT, 30% of the TRT is less restricted than the 67%. 67% has to be direct related marketing. And so it's out of that we fund the tourism department and other activities. Some of that we have the fund, the $30,000 that we have on tap fund that we distribute out of those types of things.
Along those lines, I just had a question. Maybe you don't know. Looking at the restaurant tax for January this year, it's about 35% over last year. I wonder why it dropped so much.
It's probably reporting.
Just the way it's
Is
reported.
there a lag in that? Or is it
2 months.
It's 3 months.
3 months.
3-month lag. And depending on the size of the entity that's reporting, they may be required to do a monthly report, they may be required to do a quarterly distribution. And so depending how that falls, we've got to let it stretch out a little bit before we really know if it's down. It can go up and down quite a bit between months because if an entity reports late or at the end of the month, it won't get caught in that month. And so we've seen that over the years.
So you think that accounts for it because last January we probably underreported, but when we're comparing this January to last January, we have the final numbers for last January compared to tentative numbers for now.
And that 1 month window, probably pretty inaccurate picture. It'll be better after we have about 3 months picture, and then we'll be able to see. And if it is significantly down, we can check and make sure that we're collecting, the tax commission is reapportioning those portions that should be attributable to us. We have had problems in the past because a lot of the fast food restaurants are franchises. And a franchise may be located somewhere else in the state. They may own 3, 4, 5 franchises, but their reporting system comes out of one entity, maybe in Salt Lake or Ogden or somewhere else. And so sometimes they do get disconnected, and we have to remind the tax commission, no, that part of that franchise is in Wasatch County, even though they report out of Weaver County or Salt Lake County, it's actually ours. We have had that in the past. It's been a long time since we've had a problem.
Speaking of fast food, did we ever get our funds off of the Burger King?
We did get Burger King. We don't have the motel yet, right?
We did get Burger King.
We did get Burger King.
Good job.
What image like on the hotel that we got?
No, I sent the fire chief after him because he was the only stick we had. Heber City did not. Heber City was supposed to not issue the permit until those impact fees were paid. They issued it without counties. They never even came. And that's about a $35,000+ impact fee. So I've asked
Can I ask
the fire chief to do a whole lot and see on the bill until they've had, he's working with the individual.
You have a question?
You just mentioned 30% of that TRT fund is less restrictive than the other 2/3. So what of that 30%, what do you spend that money on that's less restrictive?
Some of it could go to the event center, some of it could go to the parks department for programs that, like tournaments and things like that. It's usually tourist related, but the 2/3 portion is a direct marketing related component. And so when we give it to Ryan's group, they're using that money specifically to
Right.
look for tourism outside of the county to bring to the county. Accurate? So as they look at the things they do, whether we run advertisements, for instance, for the rodeo, if we advertise outside the county, that counts.
Okay. Okay.
And so you do have to kind of watch that a little bit and make sure that those monies are appropriated correctly so we don't cross those thresholds
Right. Right.
between them, because they do have some restrictions.
Okay. Thanks.
Down in the service funds, these are the funds that we buy computers and vehicles and communication equipment that we keep rotating funds in so that as we need a new vehicle, we can dip into this fund and buy it rather than increasing or decreasing the budget each year. And so we actually did not purchase as many computers as we thought. We didn't maintain quite as many vehicles as we thought, and we didn't buy as many vehicles as we could have. We also did not buy as many radios and pagers and batteries for radios and pagers. Some of that went on, this 53% has to do with money we did receive through the LEPC. We did get some grant money that actually paid for some of that we didn't have to spend on.
With this, the new system that we're putting in here, would that be reflected on here next year, or is that in a different budget area?
This broadcast? Honestly don't know how we did that.
But that wouldn't show up until 17.
Right. Right.
Any questions for Mike?
I got one more expenditure on other funds and I'll get out of your hair. These are what we spent that money on. So you can see, looking at special revenues funds, we're down about 21% on what we spent. I will just make a comment on the Class B roads. We are collecting a little more money, but we have to save some of that money because we will have some obligations on the jurisdictional transfers on the Forest Road and the Cascade Spring Road and the Strawberry Road that we have to have some matching funds that comes out of that. Down in the other service funds, you can see we're at about break-even level. Capital projects, we were up a little bit on expenditures. That was due to the, mostly due to the ball diamonds, the completion of that. And then our service funds, we were down proportionate to where we were on the revenues. So anyway, we will need a motion to approve our amended budgets, please.
Any questions for Mike?
Motion to approve amended budget as presented by the county manager.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Councilman Good?
Yes.
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 Yes. So, yeah.
All right, the next item I have, you recall we had the Chad Booth, was the county seat, was here a few weeks ago. You asked me to look into it. I've done that. I did have Darren come back up and met with him again, and I've asked Ryan to be here tonight so we could have a little bit of discussion, see where you want to go with this. As we mentioned, the county seat program itself, while it may be let me just go